Twins feel pain differently. But when my phone buzzed that night, I swear I felt her bruises on my own skin. It was past midnight. The message from my sister read, "I'm at the emergency room. Please don't tell Mom." No explanation, no extra words, just pain, silent, heavy, familiar. My twin sister, Layla, had spent years pretending everything was perfect. Perfect marriage, perfect house, perfect smile on Instagram. But I knew. I've always known. I drove 4 hours that night. No makeup, dirty hoodie, no GPS. I didn't need it. Her pain pulled me across every mile like a magnet. When I walked into the ER, I barely recognized her. Split lip, finger-shaped bruises on her arm, swollen eye. Layla flinched when a nurse touched her shoulder. She looked so small in a hospital gown. This wasn't just damage, this was destruction. I wanted to scream. I wanted to punch something. I wanted to kill him. His name is Jard. Husband, tech consultant, good guy in public. But behind doors. The man was a walking storm of control, silence and scars. I sat beside her. She cried more at my silence than my anger. "He said I made him do it," she whispered. "I messed up dinner, he had a bad day." Her voice shook with guilt, like she was the problem. That's what narcissists do. They break you so slowly that even you think you're the one holding the axe. I held her hand, but inside, my chest was burning. And then, out of nowhere, a thought hit me. Not a normal, gentle idea, but a ruthless one. "What if," I said slowly, "what if you vanished for a while and I became you?" Layla turned, eyes wide. What? He's never met me in person after the wedding. Pictures, sure. FaceTime, barely. I can walk in, pretend to be you, learn how deep this goes, and make him regret ever touching you. She didn't speak for a full minute. Then she nodded. And for the first time that night, she smiled. Within 24 hours, she was checked into a women's trauma recovery village under a new name. No social media, no IDs. I packed a bag, straightened my hair like hers, and wore her perfume. Her wedding ring fit, her voice close enough. I drove to her house, a place she used to call home, but really it was a cage. Jard opened the door. Didn't even fake a smile. "You're late," he muttered. I nodded quietly and said nothing. Let him think he still had control. Inside, the air felt wrong. Cold, too clean. Cameras hidden in the corners, laptops locked. His voice boomed across the room, like a dictator testing volume. "Where's dinner?" I softly said, "I thought we'd order in tonight." He scowled. "That's not how this works, not in my house." I smiled, but not kindly. My war had already started. He just didn't know it yet. For 3 days I watched. His routines, his passwords. The way he picked up his phone when he thought I wasn't looking. I played it quiet, submitted the way she probably always did, cooked for him, cleaned after him. But every night when he slept, I was digging into his world. Offshore accounts, secret chats, photos of another woman saved under Dan. Screenshots, backup files, all encrypted and uploaded, on a drive, safe. All under my control, not his. On day 4, he struck the wall next to my head when I asked why he was late. My blood didn't run, my voice didn't shake. I stood there, stone still, and whispered, "Do that again, and you'll never lift that arm again." Jard's face twisted. He smirked. "You trying to grow a spine now?" "No," I said, stepping close. "I borrowed one from your worst nightmare." "What the hell does that mean?" I leaned in. "It means you married the wrong twin." After that night, Jard started watching me more. The way I walked, the way I spoke. The same man who'd never noticed Layla's tears was suddenly on edge. "You seem different," he muttered over coffee. I smiled politely. "Maybe I'm just tired of feeling small." He flinched, just for a second. That was all I needed. Weakness detected. He started getting nervous. checking his phone more, asking odd questions, getting angrier at smaller things. So I kept feeding the fear. "I've been thinking about therapy," I said once at dinner. "We don't talk to outsiders," he snapped. "Why not? Afraid I'll tell them something you can't take back." His jaw clenched, his fork stopped moving. I sipped my wine slowly. War wears pearls too, darling, I thought. That week, I copied bank statements, took photos of bruises on Layla's skin from her old albums, and started building a timeline. Every scream, every hospital visit, every whispered voicemail she'd left me over the years. I organized them into a neat legal folder, time-stamped and color-coded. Evidence built with love. He had no idea a case was being built underneath his own roof. My secret weapon. Connection. I called Layla every other night using a neighbor's teenage daughter's phone. I updated her, encouraged her, and rebuilt her. Her voice sounded braver each time. She promised she was healing. I promised she'd get to watch him crumble. Then came the camera. I installed a small, motion-activated lens in the kitchen clock. Another in the hallway plant. That week, Jard screamed at me for sighing too loudly. I let him, didn't cry, didn't speak. Just stared at the lens. Let it record the venom behind his mask. I emailed myself the footage, twice. Once to a hidden cloud drive, once to the lawyer Layla and I secretly hired. Jard still had no idea. But the neighbors were starting to talk. The same ones who once smiled awkwardly at Layla now spoke to me in whispers. "You okay? He gets loud at night. Don't let him scare you like he scared her." I didn't. In fact, I started doing things that made him afraid. Leaving the house without telling him. Backing up his laptop. Locking doors he thought were always open. The control was shifting. And abusers. They smell loss of power like spoiled meat. Then came the night he tried to reach for my arm. Not the slap Layla took. Not the push she cried about. Just a gesture, slightly raised hand, and I caught his wrist midair. Gripped it. And leaned so close our noses nearly touched. "Try it," I whispered. "Try it, and I swear, Jard, you won't leave this room with your secrets intact." His eyes didn't meet mine after that. For the first time, he avoided me. That's when I knew. He was breaking, quietly. Jard was unraveling. He couldn't control me like he controlled her. He couldn't read me. I wasn't reacting, and my silence was driving him mad. One morning, I caught him staring at me from across the table. His voice shook. "Who are you?" I smiled through my coffee and simply said, "Guess you never really knew your wife, huh?" He blinked rapidly, paranoia creeping in. "You're acting like someone else." I didn't reply. Just let that sentence rot in the space between us. That day, I packed a final set of files. Bank fraud. Emotional abuse. Medical documentation. Footage from the cameras. Screenshots of his affair. Everything was neatly archived and anonymously sent to white heavy checkmark his company's HR. White heavy checkmark the state attorney office. White heavy checkmark and our divorce attorney. Now all I had to do was give Layla the stage. We met in the motel again. Layla had gained weight. In the good way, her face fuller, energy steadier. Her arms didn't shake when she hugged me. "Ready?" I asked. She nodded slowly. He deserves to see who he really married, one last time. I drove her to the house early Friday morning. Told the neighbors I was visiting family for the weekend. He wouldn't expect a thing, at least not until it was too late. Layla walked through the door he once slammed in her face. Wore the same perfume she used the night he proposed. Jard walked in that evening and froze. Something felt different, again. "Where were you all day?" he asked. "Meeting a lawyer," she said, calm. "What?" "About the divorce." His face went sheet white. You don't have anything on me, he hissed. She handed him the folder. Open it. While he flipped pages and stammered, Layla sat, legs crossed. Controlled. Proud. There's enough evidence in there, she said sweetly, to make sure you never get hired again. You recorded me. No, she said, we did. That's when she pulled up her phone and pressed play, a direct recording of his outburst during one of my final nights in the house. Screaming, threatening. Enough to shake a courtroom. Jard stood up, chest heaving. This is betrayal. Layla stood too, calm, balanced, peaceful. No, Jard, what you did to me all these years, that was betrayal. This is justice. The court date came 6 weeks later. Our lawyer presented the documented timeline. The medical history. The video recordings. Jard's lawyer tried claiming emotional instability. The judge wasn't impressed. Layla didn't flinch once on the stand. I may have looked fragile, she told the court, but I spent years preparing for this moment. Divorce granted. House legally transferred to her. Company launched an internal investigation. He was fired. A restraining order was signed, permanent. I visited her a month later. She had repainted the living room, planted flowers outside the window. But the biggest change, she laughed freely, smiled without second-guessing it. And when she hugged me goodbye that day, she whispered, I died in that marriage. But thanks to you and that plan, I got to be reborn. I didn't reply. I just smiled. Because she wasn't the only one who found herself through this. I looked across the street, the same sidewalk I used to hate walking down. It felt lighter now. No camera watching. No predator waiting. Just sun. And peace. Jard wanted a submissive wife. What he got instead was 2 fearless women with nothing left to lose and everything to gain.